All right, welcome to the One Lane Road podcast. Not as animated as the first take. Lucas said, "Are we?"
He said, "That's not the real intro, is it?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "No, it's not the real intro." I said, "Oh, okay, I'll delete that and do it again."
I'm sorry. I like your animation. I just didn't think it was real. I didn't think we was really starting off that way. Well,
damn,
how'd that treat you?
I didn't like it.
All right, we're cool episode coming up tonight. We're joined by actually a description that you can find plenty online, and as the interview goes to show, he's finally content with the with being called this, but one of the founding fathers maybe of the red dirt scene, and a legend for sure in the red dirt scene, Cody Canada, formerly of Cross Canadian Ragweed.
A legend in the Cookeville scene back 2003, 4, 5, 6.
Oh yeah, every Thursday night on that coffee table.
That's right.
He was the Cross Canadian Ragweed CD was in rotation with Waylon Jennings and Chris Knight and Hank Williams Jr. and all the good stuff. A lot of beer drinking to Ragweed back in the day. And of course, I tried to limit my own stories this time on Cody Canada. I think I was just freaked out last time we had Cody Canada. I was like, man, one of my top 5 musicians is on the show with us. So I tried to limit it, but you'll see.
That wasn't bad.
Interview.
Good interview. You can tell he's in a much different place now than what he was the last time we talked to him.
Yeah.
A lot more forthcoming, a lot more open to the conversation and what have you. And so it was a really, really nice interview. Really good job.
Yeah, it's the first time we've talked in a year and a half. And like Lucas said, a much better place. Of course, I think last time we talked to him, he was in the car going to pick his kid up from karate, coming back, and then to the house. Tonight he's joining us from the road. You'll see towards the end of the interview, we lose him. He's going through from Texas to Louisiana, and we lose him. So we weren't done with the interview, but we had to wrap it short. But he gave us plenty of time. Actually,
a couple of times in there, you're going to hear some hard cuts because we lose him in and out a couple different times there. So
yeah,
but just what you get whenever you're people are traveling down the road and you're talking to people traveling down the road.
We were very fortunate when Jason Eady said, "Well, I'm traveling, but I can work you in." And
yeah.
Luckily, when he was sitting in the van,
he was sitting still, and not everybody can do that for us. Yeah.
That's right. So we'll take what we can get. We sure appreciate Cody coming on, and I texted him earlier on today. He told me yesterday, he said, "Yeah, I can do it. Just remind me." So I texted him about 4 or 5 hours ago, and he said, "Yeah, man, I'll be driving." So I said, "You think you'll have service?" He goes, "Dude, I have no idea." I said, "Well, I'll text you when I get to the studio, and we'll play it by ear." And so lucky to get what we got, and.
And I think you got a good one out of him. It was a good one.
Feel good about it.
Probably a little bit longer than what he thought it was going to be. I got about an hour out of him.
Yeah, and I think he was still going.
He was still going strong, but he was in the middle of a pretty good story, which I'll take it right up to the end.
Yeah.
And play it, but he was still going strong right there.
I know.
We wrapped it up because God knows what's coming with service after that.
That's right. So here it is. Check it out. It's our interview with Cody Canada. All right, we're back here, and we've got Cody Canada, lead singer of The Departed, on with us. Cody, how are you now, man?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Hey, we're good. Where about you at tonight? I know you're on the road traveling. Tell us, our listeners, where you're at tonight.
We are headed towards, Augusta, Georgia.
Mm.
And we're right on, I think, about central Houston about now. We left about 2:00, and it's been raining and stuff.
Well, we really appreciate it when you're taking the time out to call us while you're on the road. I know we had Jason Eady on a few weeks ago, and he was in Idaho, and he sat on the bus for like an hour talking to us, and he said it was just he always likes our formats because we're just a little different than your general same questions you get asked everywhere else. So promise we won't keep you. Promise we won't keep you for an hour tonight, though.
Unless you have an hour, then we might keep you for an hour.
I don't know if my service has an hour tonight.
All right.
Well, it was February 2017 last time. It didn't seem like it's been that long, but I know you were working on a lot of things, but since then, man, you've been doing a lot of stuff, and I was looking over your website. Of course, I've been following you for several years. I was just kind of rehashing some things. And, man, quarter century in the music business. Is that hard to believe?
It's pretty hard to believe. I'm 42, but, I don't really feel like I've been doing it that long. But when you start when you're 15 years old, I guess it kind of gives the numbers add up a little quicker when you start younger.
Yeah, that was hard to believe. I've been listening for 15, 16 years myself. So, you know, 25 years, that's unbelievable. Like you said, you're a young guy still, but just released the album 3 in July. So, it's been out for a little bit now. It's the first album in 3 years since Hippie Love Punk. And a lot of people, all the critics and everybody, all the reviews I've read, and of course you yourself have said it, it's the most ragweed sound that The Departed has had probably since you guys started in 2010, 2011. That wasn't a mistake, was it? Is that something you was aiming to do on this album?
No, I didn't. What I really aimed to do was to sound like myself.
Yeah.
I went through so many different members in my band, and it was really frustrating. And in the beginning with Seth, the whole thing with joining up with Seth was supposed to be a side project.
Mm-hmm.
And the band was breaking up around the same time, so I was like, well, let's just roll with this. And, and I liked that era. I was very confused. I was mad because my band broke up.
Right.
So I was looking for something to do, and I didn't want to, why didn't you take a break from these songs? And really, it was a bad decision. I wish I would have done that. And then, McClure and I felt like I lost him for a bit. With the band splitting up, I felt like I lost one of the kids, and then once I called him, him and I got to be in good graces again. I told him that I was really tired of trying to do something else. And he said, man, just be yourself again. And so I really just, instead of thinking, well, I want this song to sound like this, or I want this song to sound like that, and I've always been good about just letting the song be what it's going to be. And that took me back to, that's how I used to write, when I was with Ragweed. It's just a different vehicle now, I was, back then, I wasn't thinking. I wasn't trying to write a song for radio. I wasn't trying to write a song to be different. I was just trying to be therapeutic for me and the people listening. And that's really what it came back to. So the comparison to the Ragweed stuff is really just a state of mind, because I got happy again. I got the perfect band under my belt, and everything just lined up. It's like, well, I'm going to do what I've always done, and free came out of it.
Well, it's your comfort level, and it's really refreshing because, myself, like many other people, we followed you with The Departed, and you're right. It was a sound that we'd been used to for over 15 years. And for me, I struggle with some of The Departed stuff, thinking, okay, trying to find what you were shooting for. And with this album, like I said, it was really refreshing because it took me back to that 2003, 2004 sound that I was so accustomed to with you. It made me a fan, back then. But to what I've found by studying you all these years, it looks like, and you just touched on it, like you've just really found peace again. And that's what, was nice to me as a fan watching for you from afar. It looks like you're very comfortable in everything you're doing again.
And the thing is that when you do something for so long, you just get used to it, and then all of a sudden it's gone. And there's, I don't want to sound like such a pussy, but it just, we were riding on high, and then once it crashed down, unexpectedly, it was unfixable, and so my wife didn't know what to do, and I didn't know what to do, and it took us several years. But over the last few years, I'll tell you what happened is I had enough of dealing with band members.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I'm going to cut it back to Eric and Plato.
Yeah.
Just my wife said years ago, just keep Plato around. He's Plato and our brothers, and Waldo is one of the most inspirational people I've ever met in my life, and positive people. In her words, dealing with 80 kids at a music school is much easier than dealing with a bunch of whiny ass fucking musicians.
Yeah.
Because, it's the truth. Somebody complains that they don't have the right hotel room or somebody complains that their flight was canceled. It's like, you know what, bro, grow up. You're a grown ass person.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids walk into the school wanting to learn, and they walk out with a riff under their belt, and they're happy, and they come back for more. You know, I mean, that's watching her deal with happy people has made me happy again. Just we're all at peace, you know. And the kids are going to homeschool, and it's just we just focused on us and being us, and that's where the happiness comes from, and that's where three comes from. Is like I was tired of dealing with shit, you know, and I was tired of dealing with a whiny piano player that drank too much, you know. And once I kicked him out, man, it just opened up a whole new ray of sunshine to the door. It was great.
Tell me how you really feel about that.
Well, you know, that's the thing. As for so many years, even with Grady and Randy and Ragweed, you know, it's like I was trying to protect people. I didn't want people to know, you know, that these people are hard to deal with. And because I felt like it was just, I didn't want to feel like I was talking down on somebody. But the thing is when it started dragging me down in the mud, as well, I was like, you know what, fuck that. I'm going to, if somebody asks me about it, and why are you happy now, I'm going to let them know, you know, because that person wasn't in it for me, but I was in it for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're the one busting your ass. I'm not saying those guys didn't bust their ass, but you know, you're the face of the band. So you know, that's got, you know, what's got to come first ultimately is making yourself.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's because the music started to suffer, you know, and if it sounds like shit on stage, it definitely sounds like shit out front, and then next thing you know, half the people are not coming back to the gig. And we did a show in New York City, and it was just a train wreck, and that was it for me. It's like, I'm not doing this anymore. There's too many people out there, thank God, that like what I do, and I'm not going to let somebody fuck it up.
The shows, I saw a couple of the last shows. I actually seen you guys at Bonnaroo 2010. It was probably 5 months before the breakup. And the shows were still good, in my opinion, you know, but I was always drunk, so what did I know? But but I seen you guys probably 3 times that last year of 2010 when you broke up. And I remember the crowd still being good, but I remember feeling bad for you when the Departed crowds first started, you know, and I'm not trying to be a dick when I say that, but the crowds were dramatically different, you know, when I went and seen, I remember seeing you at the Exit Inn in 2014 maybe, and the crowd, I was like, or 2013 maybe, and I thought, man, this is nothing like a crowd Cody Canada used to bring in, and I felt bad for you at the time, and I'm glad to see it's picking back up for you.
Well, that made me, you know, that was a lot of my fault too, because I had this chip on my shoulder of I'm not going to play. I mean, how stupid, you know, I'm not going to play my songs. You know, it's not like anybody else had a hand in these tunes. They're my songs, you know, but I'm becoming less hard-headed the older I get, you know, and it's just so much easier to play these songs that I've missed so much and watch people be happy. I mean, you know, and now our crowd has grown. You know, we don't have those 2013 Departed crowds anymore. Now we have everybody coming back because we're doing old tunes again, you know, and everybody's smiling.
Well, I'll plan on seeing that next week, and we'll get into talking about that here in a few minutes. But so let's quit harping on the negative. Like I said, you're happy now, and part of that reason is you know, actually I do want to ask a lot of questions, but I'm not going to. I know last time I kind of walked around the Ragweed thing because I wasn't sure where you were at with it mentally, but so that's more than you were able to share last time. And I sure as hell wasn't bringing it up. I wasn't going to be that guy to bring up sore shit. But no, man, you so. I guess in the spring, you guys opened up School of Rock down in New Braunfels, where you live down there, right? That's the town you live in?
Yes, we lived there for about 15 years.
So it took a long time in the process. I watched it actually on the Texas music scene there on Saturday mornings there on. I always record it and watch back, and then they run the article on you guys or the piece on you guys. And how much credit did your wife Shannon get for that? It seemed like she really busted her ass to make that happen for you guys.
You know, a lot of things were happening. I was miserable. You know, I didn't want to be on the road because I couldn't sing. I was losing my voice, and I was stressed the fuck out. And I don't know. I felt like I wasn't doing my job right. And she was getting the same way. You know, she was getting tired of dealing with certain people, and she brought this up about 4 years ago, and we started talking to headquarters about it, and we got turned down a couple of times, and then finally we got their attention. We flew to LA, and we went out there and talked to them about what the big plan was. And they'd said, well, New Braunfels isn't really known for music. They're like, well, you guys don't really know New Braunfels because you need to come in and check it out because, there's so many people that live down here and so many musicians that are here. And once they came down, they realized what was up, and we got the green light. And it was all her. But now, I was helping her look for buildings, and we found one, and she really liked it. I didn't like it, and luckily somebody came in and got it before we did. And now we're down in downtown New Braunfels, which they've been rebuilding for the last couple of years because it's the second fastest growing city in the country right now.
Wow.
And which is really crazy because we're from I live over by Green Hall. From Green Hall to the interstate, which is about 2-3 miles, was nothing. And now it's just everything, from Target to grocery stores. And so we figured it was a good time to do this, and we took our kids to music lessons because I'm not always home. And, the kids don't always want to learn from their parents. It's just, I could see it in my kids' eyes. Now they do. But we took them to a couple of lessons in New Braunfels, and the teacher didn't show up. And then we took them to another teacher, and we came over there one day, and our kids are playing with the dogs. Like, you're supposed to be learning how to play music, not playing with dogs, And so that's when we just said, that's it. Let's do this. Let's really go for it, and let's really do it. And once we got it approved and started building the building, it scared the shit out of us. It's like, oh yeah, we did it. And they wanted 40 kids for the first few months, which we're in month 6 now, and we got a little over 80 kids. And it's amazing. It's amazing watching these. This is 5 years old to 17 years old, 18 years old. And it's just amazing watching these kids learn and just the hunger for it. There's this one kid who's best buddies with my boys. He was a killer guitar player, and he wants to come up there and hang out all the time. He's like, whatever you guys need. I'll take out trash. I'll restring guitars because I just want to be here. He's a football kid. And his football coach told him, you need to, this is the same shit that I was told. He said, you need to either pick football or your pipe dream of being a musician. And he said, it's not a pipe dream. I enjoy it. I hate football now. Fuck off. So I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, because that's what I did. I didn't tell the teacher to fuck off or anything, but I just told him that I was going to be a musician. Somebody will watch, and even if I'm playing in shitty bars forever, I'm going to do something. And that's the way this kid is. That's the way almost all of them are. But, the little ones come in there just eager to do something and play with others. And then there's the teenagers that walk in and they have determination in their eyes. Like, okay, this is, and watching, I think we have 12 teachers, and watching the teachers like playfully argue on who gets the kid that day, But to answer your question, it's 100% her idea. And she had my 100% support. And now I'm a fill-in teacher. Todd Lanningham, who plays for Wade Bowen, like he'll go out on tour, and I'll take his students. And it's just such an awesome thing to be a part of. Just teaching kids how to play music, and the kids that come in there that want to learn new songs, like, man, sorry, that's the school of rock, it's not school of pop, it's not school of country, and we'll do camps and shit like that. But from right now, we're learning AC/DC and Led Zeppelin, and the way the music was born. Sorry, I rambled about that.
Have you informed corporate that you got double your quota there in Little New Braunfels?
Have you what now?
I said, have you informed corporate that you got 80 kids in there
instead of 40?
Oh yeah, they watch you like a hawk.
Yeah,
and because you're dealing with kids. Kids and one-on-one lessons with adults, mainly adult males. So they're looking because it's it could potentially be a giant lawsuit waiting to happen. So they're just, so there's cameras everywhere, and there's doors with windows in them, and just it's very open. And that's the first thing we tell the parents when you come in. It's like, there they are on the screen. You feel free to go look into any. I mean, you can't go in the room with them, but you feel free to hang out. And corporate actually thought we were doing such a good job that they sent a surprise guest down. They sent a teacher from one of their big ones up in Seattle down to just got to supervise for a day and see what was up. And we went out and had drinks and took him to eat. And in the end, he said, "Man, you guys are doing great. And congratulations on having twice as many kids as you're supposed to have right now, So I think, eventually we'll get, they said about 125 to 150 kids a week is a pretty good thing. But my wife and I say we're probably going to shut it down about 100, just so we don't miss out on other family activities,
Yeah, it could go from a fun hobby to a full-time job in a hurry if you weren't careful. And not calling it a hobby. I understand it's more than a hobby, but, it can go from enjoyable to not in a hurry.
I got you. But it's happy. It's really happy. I mean, even like there's one girl that, I say one girl, there's one girl and my son Willie, they did their first performance and they missed a word in the song. And when poor Willie, he was just devastated. He was crying in the back. I'm like, dude, nobody cares. It's fine.
Right.
How many kids have messed up today? You just keep going. I mean, if you mess that lyric up, then I guarantee you the next time you sing it, you're not going to forget it. It's just, then all the kids gathered around, and especially all the girls, the girls were like hugging him and picking him up and like, you did great, Willie. He's 10 years old, and when you got 5 pretty teenage girls hugging on you and encouraging you, he's like, hell yeah, I got this.
Yeah, I got this. Do you feel like you've learned the music better when you're trying to teach it? Because almost every teacher I've ever talked to said they thought they knew a subject until they started teaching it. Then they really had to dig in and find a different level of understanding about it.
Can you answer that one more time? It's a little muffled.
Oh, what I was saying is, do you find that you've learned music more trying to teach it than what you had known before? Because every teacher that I've ever heard talk to say that once they started trying to teach a subject, they really had to dig in and find a different level of understanding about it.
I was terrified to teach these kids, completely terrified. And like looking in the window, and there's a little dude in there with a mini Fender Squire Telecaster or Stratocaster, and just looking at me wide-eyed. I was like, I'm terrified. It was like I was locked in a room with a rabid animal. I told my mom, I'm scared. I'm like, what if I teach this kid the wrong thing? And once I got in there, it started opening up. I mean, I can't tell you how many songs I've written from going in and showing these kids these riffs. Like, oh, that's how. I'm like, welcome to the jungle. Like, that's what my oldest boy, Dirksen, he's in the house band. Like, they learned Welcome to the Jungle. And that's just one of those tunes where when I was a kid in 1987 or whenever that came out, I was 11 years old, so, close to his age. And that song came out, and I remember thinking, I'll never be able to learn to play that. That's way too hard. Slash is badass. I'll never do it. And then watching all these kids play this song, and I have to go to my son and say, hey, can you teach me that riff? It's wonderful, and just the ideas that come from teaching these kids stuff, like, because, you have some kids that come in just want lessons. You have other kids that come in want to be a part of the full band, so you teach them what's on the roster for the next session. And then you have other kids that just they walk in and say, hey, I want to learn this song. Like this one kid wanted to learn Iron Man. That's it. That's all he wanted to learn. He wanted to come in and learn that whole song. Just showing these kids these riffs. But so many things I've been playing through the years and not knowing the theory of it, and it's been just as educational for all of the teachers up there as the kids. I promise you that.
That brings a good segue to our next question. You were talking about Willie and Dirks both, man. We covered on our last show. Of course, Willie's named after Willie Braun, Reckless Kelly, and then Dirks after Dirks Bentley. What are they up to musically? And again, how old are they? And how old's Willie?
Willie's 10. Dirks just turned 13, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah. So what are they into? What do they like to play?
They like, they're really into metal, and really likes to look at the lyrics. I mean, that kid can hear a song one time and sing it back to you. But it started with the Steve Miller Band a few years ago. I took them to see Steve Miller, and we ended up seeing Steve Miller like 3 or 4 times that year. And then Metallica, and then George Strait, and then we started going we went to a metal festival in Florida, and we got to see Ozzy for the first time. All of us got to see Ozzy for the first time. And then just this last weekend, we went to see Primus, Bush, Joan Jett on her 60th birthday, band called The Sword out of Texas, and then Clutch. And I mean, it was an all-day festival in San Antonio. San Antonio is known for metal, you know. And they're just sponges, man. I mean, we'll sit, and we go to the front of the crowd. You know, we go up to the very, very front. And Willie, being my worry guy, you know, he's like, "Are we going to be okay?" I was like, "I promise you, we'll be just fine." And we get up there, and then like we were in Florida, and this one guy had tattoos all over his bald head, and he was just like raging. And he turned around and he went, "Oh, sorry, little dude." And then he got down on his hands and knees. He goes, "You want to stand on my back for a second so you can get a good look at Ozzy?" Like, dude, everybody's just judging this dude. You know, he was like a skinhead, tattoos all over, and he turned around and saw this little 10-year-old boy just melted, you know. And so we're everything. To answer your question, everything. You know, I took him to see the Blaze Foley movie a couple of weeks ago, and told him, you know, this is stuff others do. This is, you know, songwriter stuff. And when we left, they said, one thing, a guy that they got to play on stage with, Charlie Sexton, legendary Austin guitar player, plays with Dylan now. Mm-hmm. And he's buddies of ours, and he got him up. They got on stage and jammed with him and Steamboat last year. So Charlie Sexton plays Townes Van Zandt, which is really rad. And as we were driving home, the kid said, "Who was Charlie playing?" And so he's playing Townes Van Zandt. He's like one of the best songwriters ever. So we went home that night, didn't have school the next day, and we sit and listen to Townes Van Zandt for 3 hours. You know, and just this morning they said the alarm went off and it was Frank Sinatra, and they loved it. So it's everything.
Yeah.
Chris loves playing metal. Willie loves Americana.
Yeah, that's the trend right now, Lennon. That's the in thing. I went to the Americana Award just a couple weeks ago here in Nashville, so it kind of brings me to a point of like when you're talking about that genre or whatever. You know, I don't know if you saw it where Tyler Childers, one of the best emerging artists, and he kind of shot down the term Americana. He says, "I don't know what that is really." He said, "It's not really for nothing. I'm a country music. You know, I write country music." Can you relate a little bit to that? Because you've been called, and I read an article where you said you weren't comfortable in that for a long time, but you've kind of been one of the fathers, as they call it, or the legends in the red dirt scene. How do you differ, maybe like a red dirt scene from Americana scene?
There's no difference. I mean, there's no difference to me. You know, when it comes to, I mean, when people say red dirt, it's Oklahoma music.
You're right.
I mean, and that's it. You know, it's funny that in 2000, I came down to Texas for a gig in Dallas, and Justin Frizzell asked me on the air, he was like, what do you call your music? He's like, "Well, we're from Stillwater, Oklahoma, and all of our heroes that we looked up to and played music with called it red dirt because it was honest as the dirt is red in Oklahoma." And then they've been calling that since the 70s, and it's just honest music, you know. And then now, you know, there's everything from red dirt landscaping to Texas red dirt barbecue sauce, and that's like, man, somebody should have put a damn trademark on that. but the red dirt is Okie music, and you know, you're going to have folky rock music in Texas too. And when it comes to like the yeehaw Texas music, you know, like when they sing about Texas a lot and stuff, and I'm not saying like Wade or Randy or anybody like that. You know who a Texas artist is. I mean, Pat Green sings about Texas about every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and no offense to that. I mean, that's what he does. Texas, let the guys think about it, and that to me is a Texas artist. But when it comes to Americana music, I think you can pretty much roll everybody up in the Oklahoma scene, and then you have your Edie's and your Adam Hoods, and it's just honest music. American Aquarium, and those dudes are like forerunners right now in my book. It's just people writing about their feelings, people writing about their life experiences, people writing about the fucking truth. And nobody's trying to make a dollar off of writing a song about drinking beer, which I always told stupid shit ever.
I think that's been done, hasn't it?
It's just so overdone, and I don't know. I think Merle Haggard was called Americana for the last 20 years of his life, and that's not Americana to me. It's a piece of Americana, but he's country music, and I think that there's somebody needs to get together and write a big definition on what Americana music is. But Ray Riley Hubbard's Americana. He doesn't sing a lot of songs about Texas. He's also a blues man, but he's a blues man that can get down and rock and roll, and he's also a blues man that can write a hell of a ballad. So it's a very wide spectrum. I said Americana one time to a DJ, and he's like, "Well, that's a big line of people to talk about." So I was like, "Well, no, we're Okies. We're Red Dirt Okies." And I said, "We're just as country and just as rock and roll as Springsteen or Tom Petty." In my book, Tom Petty's Americana. It's just homeland rock and roll is what they call it up in, Ohio and Iowa and stuff, and Illinois. But
so I'm about to be 35. When I work with some younger guys, and I was kind of zoned out at my lunch today at work, trying to put some finishing touches on this, and they're like, "Well, who's the guy?" And I work with 24-year-olds and 18-year-olds, so I'm like, "Well, it's Cody Canada. He used to be Cross Canadian Ragweed, and he's departed now." And he said, "Well, what kind of music is he?" I was like, "Well, it's Red Dirt." And they're like, "What is Red Dirt?" I'm like, "Well," and that's really why I wanted to ask you the definition of what you portrayed. And I said, "Well," I said, it's Oklahoma and I said he's from Oklahoma, but now he's from Texas, and it's kind of that whole scene." And I said, "Here, just let me play you some music." So I played clips of about 5 songs. He goes, "Oh, I thought you were going to play me some fucking country music. I was going to have to pretend like I liked it." And I was like, he said, "That's not country." And I was like, "No, it's elements of country, and it's Americana a little bit." And I said, "But it's a lot of rock, and with you especially,
Yeah. One of the funniest things I still hear to this day is, "Why don't you like country music?" I'm like, "You guys," well, that's good because we're nowhere close to country music. I mean, if you're thinking about country music that you're force fed on the radio, if that's what you're thinking, then no, we're nowhere close to it.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because it's kind of been touched, and I hate to sound repetitive, but for people that haven't listened to other podcasts or just tuning in for you when this airs, I actually said it to Jason Eady when he was on here, and I've said it to a couple other of our guests, is that people actually say, country music's dead. When they see what's on, I'm like, yeah, it is dead on CMT and it's dead on the radio. But I said, well, if you go back and you dig and you find the stuff when Shooter Jennings is actually wanting to play country, and Jason Eady and Justin Wells and Cody Canada's got an element of it, and Tyler Childers, Jamie Johnson, Stapleton, even Sturgill. I mean, it's there. You just got to dig for it, and it's nothing that's going to be on the radio. But and I told Jason on his interview here, I said, I think country music, actually, when you get down to the guys that I listen to, Chris Knight, it's actually in a better place in the last 10, 15 years than it's been probably in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and everything goes through its phases, and it goes back to a prime example is Charlie Rich burning John Denver's Country Music Award. He was pissed off too. Charlie Rich was like, "Fuck this guy! I hate this. My country music, it's mountain folk music."
Yeah,
and every genre of music goes through a bump in the road. And unfortunately we've been hitting this bump for about a decade or so, a little more. But eventually it'll come back. Look at Chris Stapleton. This guy is one of the biggest acts in the world right now, and he is nowhere close to shitty country music. I mean, he is a person that has lived with country music in his ears his entire life. He has studied it, he's written it, he's loved it, and then now he's taken it to the masses. So it's not dead. It's just not the first thing. It's not the first thing that the program director wants you to hear. You know.
Mm-hmm. You said something interesting on our last interview that stuck out to me. You said that it wasn't going to change because if it was going to change, it would have when Stapleton. You know, there would have been more Stapletons. But you know, it's kind of like he had his moment, but it didn't follow really with anyone else after that.
Yeah, and I'll stand by that. You know, I mean, if there's going to be, you know, more people to follow in Stapleton's footsteps, but I mean, I don't. Hopefully, one day we look around and that's all we have. Stapleton is looked at like George Jones, you know, and Sturgill's looked at like Haggard, you know, just. And Isabel's looked at like Waylon, you know. I mean, just one day, hopefully, we're surrounded by all that. But there's always going to be people out there that's trying to make it up with a gimmick, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just because it's not on CMT, you know, I don't watch or listen. You know, we talked about it on our last show. I just choose not to. Used to, I was the guy 6 years ago. I'd be on Twitter and just pissed off tweeting at CMA awards, you know, just and now I just don't do it. Instead of using all that negative energy, I just don't watch.
Yeah.
I just don't watch the show, and so it is happening. I mean, Sturgill's doing Saturday Night Live, and Childers is selling out shows. And I just went and watched Cody Jinks two weekends ago up here to Send Amphitheater, and he pretty much sold the whole place out. And so these guys do have a back, and it's just not the big machines.
It's still there. We just, like you said, you just got to dig for it a little bit. You get to the shit to find the diamond and the goat ass.
Yeah. Speaking of Texas music, I know somebody you're pretty close to, and actually I've seen you play with him a time or two before. Big news out of Texas this week with Charlie Robinson having to announce his retirement after surgery that went wrong. How did that hit you? What's your feelings on that?
Man, devastated. I mean, my wife managed him for like the last 10 years.
Really?
And, yeah, and just about a year ago, he said that he was done. He was done with management. He was just going to do it on his own. You know, obviously I can't speak for him or anything, but I've been trying to get a hold of him for the last couple of days, and he finally reached out and talked to my wife. And said, yeah, look, I basically just turned my phone off. He said, I felt like I was watching my own retirement, you know, and people saying, you know, what they did. He said, I didn't really realize people like me that much. And if it wasn't for Charlie Robinson, I mean, I wouldn't have ventured south.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there was Robert Earl, but Robert Earl was everywhere. You know, when I first heard him, you know, Robert Earl was a good 12 years into his professional career before I heard of him, so he's all over the place, you know. But Charlie and Jack were the ones that caught my ear. Like, oh, these guys are badass, you know. And I drove down to Lukenbach, Texas. You know, I've never been south of Dallas. I drove down to Lukenbach in 96, and it was when Charlie released the Bandera record. He had the long blonde hair, and I was like, this guy's so badass, you know. And I went back home and told the Ragweed boys, I said, hey, let's start doing these Charlie Robinson songs. We were doing, of course, Hometown and Loving County and Sunset Boulevard and stuff like that. And it was part of our set. Charlie was part of our gig, you know, and then got to be friends with the dude. You know, you talk about a hard egg to crack, you know. I mean, he was, if there's any sort of phoniness to you, he will fucking nail you to the wall. And luckily, he knew that we meant business. And we weren't here to just jerk around, you know. We were here to have a good time and play music and make an impact, you know. And my goal was to make an impact. And we got to be buddies with him. And me and my wife landed the management deal with him. And that was really good. And she was just talking about it the other night. I mean, he announced that he was retiring. And the night before, her and I sat on the back porch and smoked some weed and drank a couple beers and listened to Charlie. And she's like, man, I'm really proud that I did that. Like, you should be. You know, that was before you and I were married or even knew each other. I was listening and playing that stuff, and then when she met me, I introduced her to Charlie's music, and just I don't know. He's a country legend. He's a Texas legend. And I think that he deserves all the prompts that he's getting right now. And there's a lot of people that are upset, sad that he's leaving. Unfortunately, he can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the part about being friends with such a big variety of people down here is we're going to take care of him, and nobody's going to forget who he is. I promise you that. And we're all going to circle around him, and by some sort of awesome medical procedure or miracle, if he gets back to it, it's going to be a beautiful day. No pun intended.
I never remember. I only seen him one time ever, and it was probably 2009, 2010. It was you and him and Chris Knight at the Exit Inn doing a song swap. You were all three just up there.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I do. That was a good run. That was a really fun run for me.
That was. It was, like I said, probably 10 years ago or close to it, but really loved his music. I know one of the first songs, the first song I heard of his was My Hometown, and not to sound like a repetitive country song that's out right now, but we used to ride around these back roads here in Tennessee and drink beer all night long and blast My Hometown, because it's just like the world we live in down here,
Well, just talking about, being a part of Americana music, and Texas music. Charlie, that song, My Hometown, and that record, Life of Party, it has to go down in the chronicles of music, of our genre of music, as one of the, it was like the gateway drug between that and the Road Goes On Forever, I put it up there as far as that song, I think he wrote a damn good song, and he was just firing on all pistons, He's going to be missed. Live, he's going to be missed, but, I think after he kind of shakes this a little bit, he'll probably start getting out in public and hanging out with everybody, But I'd like to do a Charlie record. I'd like to gather all our buddies together and handpick the ones that he wants for the record, and I'd like to do a Charlie Robinson tribute record.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. Speaking of that,
there's a lot of people that would be on it. I promise you that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, didn't really have this song, this question written down, but are there songs you wish you would have cut that other people, your buddies, cut that you hadn't had a chance to get a hold of yet, or some that you might one day?
Ask that one more time. Cut out a little bit.
I'm just saying that, you're talking about doing a Charlie record. Are there any songs out there that you wish you would have cut that maybe some of your buddies cut, or you hadn't had an opportunity to put on a record yet?
I was going to do Idabel Blues. Stoney did that. It was a Red Dead Rangers song. I was going to do Idabel Blues. We were going to put it on our Soul Gravy record. I've been playing the song for years.
Yeah.
But the fun thing is sitting there and playing that song with Stoney. That's always one that he looks at. He knows that if I'm there, I'm going to get up and jam with him. But definitely that one. Baldwin had that Fuck Fight Radio song a couple of albums ago. I really wanted to do it. He's like, "Well, do it, man." Like, now, you'll have it on a record, and I'll have it on a record. He's like, "Well, it's not like we haven't done that before, but eventually I'll get around to it." I like to put a couple of covers.
Mm-hmm.
On every record I do, so eventually I'll get there.
I'm going to spitfire a couple names here, kind of close out. I'm not going to keep you too much longer. But I know you've made so many connections in the music business, and you're one of the most unselfish guys out there as far as, putting over other artists. So if you can, you don't have to give me a long answer if you don't want to. I'm going to give you a few names, just first kind of thing. And one guy, one of your old buddies, you just played with him out in Colorado, and I seen you on stage somewhere else over the weekend, I think. Dierks Bentley, man. What's Dierks Bentley meant to your career over the years?
My wife and I turned the radio off a long time ago, and she said it the other day that she got so wrapped up in family and other things and school. And when she says family, she means Dalton Domino, and she means Mike McClure. She still manages those guys and in my band and the kids. And she said when we went to when we were in Colorado, I hadn't seen my kids in a month and my wife. So when Dierks played, we went back to the hotel, and things to be, we just missed each other. But the other night in Austin, he called and asked if I'd get up and sing, and I mean, absolutely never. I would never ever say no to that. And he sold that Austin 360 amphitheater, and she goes, "Is he really this big?" It's like, baby, he's been big for a few years. I mean, she goes, "You know, I just got so wrapped up, I didn't realize. I'm so proud of him." It's like, yeah, I mean, I am too. You know, I met him backstage at the Exit Inn, and everybody's saying he's the next big thing. You know, and his record wasn't out yet. And he gets to tell me that he used to run in Arizona to the 377 record, and then selfishly, I was like, "Oh, this guy's cool."
Yeah.
And we really just hit it off from there. You know, he got up the next time we came to town. He got up and sang with us, and then his album came out. We talked about touring together, so we started touring together, and then he started blowing up pretty big, and he refused to close the show in Texas or Oklahoma. I always thought that was very classy. I mean, this is your land, this is your territory.
That's awesome.
And I'll get up and do, you know, at the most 75-minute set in the 90 years. And I always thought that was very classy because the people, a lot of the folks that are out there from that genre, nationally, you know, are not that awesome.
Yeah.
And he's just been a really good friend, you know, and it was an unsuspected friendship. You know, it really came out of passing. Our old co-manager Enzo, he's the one I introduced me to. He's like, "Hey, it's gonna be the next big thing. You know, this is one of George Strait's favorites, you know." And of course, I heard that, and I started listening too, you know. But I don't know, man. We had so much fun together, you know. And we never wrote a song, which we always talked about that. I haven't written a song with half the people I know because we always talked about it. But when we got pregnant with our first, you know, I remember walking the halls of the House of Blues in New Orleans, and Shannon goes, "What do you want to name it if it's a boy?" I said, "Well, let's kick it around here." And I said, "Shooter." She goes, I don't know. I'm not saying I hate it." And we said something else. I can't remember what it was. And then she goes, "What about Dirks?" And I said, "You know, I was thinking that, but I really thought you'd say no." She goes, "Why would I say no? He's like a fantastic human." There you go.
Rest is
I
history.
remember my dad saying, "Oh, Dirk's a pretty good guy." And I was like, "Well, I wouldn't name my kid after a douchebag, you know?"
Yeah. I got a good friend of mine from here in Kentucky. She met Dirk early on in his career, and she took us backstage to a show in Indianapolis. He headlined a couple of summers ago, and we got to go backstage with him. And he asked me if I was, you know, what kind of music I was into, and I said, "You're one of the few mainstream guys I can listen to." I said, "One of my favorite artists of all time is actually buddies with you." And I said, "Cody Canada." I said, and he goes, "Man, I love that guy." And he just pretty much said, you know, everything that you just said, you know, about him. He was just obviously as loving back, you know, in your regard. He really went on with you about you for a while.
It is a modern day bromance, I promise you that.
It's pretty sweet. Well, hey man, you brought up Shooter. What about Shooter Jennings? You get to catch him lately? What's your opinion on Shooter?
I mean, that's another thing, you know. I mean, I don't consider the name of my kid Shooter. You know, I met Shooter in 2001, and we were out in L.A., and he was with the band Stargun, and it was just this killer spitting and cussing rock and roll band. I mean, it was like Guns N' Roses with a country flair to it, you know, and we instantly became buddies. I mean, it was pretty instant. You know, as soon as we met him, we had mutual friends, and we started touring together, and you know, Shooter's one of those dudes that, especially back then, you know, we could get in a lot of trouble together.
I can imagine.
Especially in those neither one of us had kids days. But he's a Sutherland, man. I mean, he's always been always will, no matter what he does, you know.
You had a chance to listen to his latest album, the country album he put out?
I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I'm a really bad friend when it comes to that. I promise you, because Dirk had asked me to get up and sing a Burning Man in Colorado, and I was like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
He said, "That's my new song." I was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. I haven't listened like the last 2 records. I've been so busy."
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of, you know, we have a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of listeners on the show. We're building our market here, but it's kind of funny. Like all these people that I know half-ass are like, dude, I love your show. Then I asked my best friend of 20 years, hey, did you listen to the podcast? He's like, shit, I ain't listening. This is like the first 5 episodes y'all done.
Right, dude. Sorry, we just hit the Louisiana border. There ain't shit out here.
Okay. So you probably need to wrap it up, I guess, don't you?
I'm probably gonna start losing it. We're starting to get in the swampland out here.
Okay. We'll do all your plugging for you, but yeah, really cool to catch up with you, man. Got a lot of touring coming up and everything. So
yeah,
3 Tennessee dates in the next week. Actually, that's why I was really happy to get you on this week.
Are y'all coming to any of those?
I'll be at the Exit In show.
Cool, man. Be sure and come up and say howdy.
I sure will. Anything you want to say before we lose you?
Man, just thanks for you two guys for supporting me for one. But, once again, as I always say to everybody out there that supported me, and sorry that the music wasn't as delivering as it was in the beginning and as it is now for a while. I feel like I'm back to being me again. So hopefully everybody sticks around.
Man, we're glad to have it. I'm sure they're going to come back out and support you. Everybody's always loved your music and your voice. I've always said your voice is one of the most distinct that I've ever heard. It's one of my favorites. So,
well, thanks, man.
Lucas, you got anything for me?
No, we appreciate it, bud. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. Y'all, thank you guys very much. And y'all have a beautiful night.
You too.
All right. Thank you, Cody. Appreciate it, man.
Good job, DK. Another good interview. Doing really, really well with these musicians. I mean, you do well with all of them, but these musicians, you really got them dialed in.
I appreciate that. I don't know if I could do it with everybody, but when you study a career as much as I have, Jason
Right.
Eady's and Cody Canada's, it's not. There's no research.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you just made notes so that you wouldn't forget. You didn't have to look it up.
It looks like I've got a lot of stuff written down over here, and I do have a lot of stuff written down, but it's actually just bullet points on the album and the School of Rock. But what I was doing, guys, on the interview, I had 10 names written down, and 10 influences, and 10 peers of Cody's that I know it's influenced him, and he's influenced. So, and I was really looking forward to what he's going to say about Chris Knight and Jason Eady and George Strait and Merle Haggard and Robert Earl Keen, some of those guys. And I really wanted him to talk about Plato. The guy's been in the band with him since the beginning, almost. So, but anyway, like I said, we're going to catch up with him again, I'm sure. But that absolutely a lot better place in life than he is. He's, I follow him on social media, obviously, and just to see how close knit of a family he's got. Him and Shannon have been together for so many years. Then Dirks and Willie. I mean, you can tell like he's talking about them and going to all those concerts together. They're it's cool how involved he is with his kids.
Yeah, and talking about with kids playing music and stuff. I was Googling here a while ago, and I'll have to get back to it now, but there's videos of him playing Turn the Page, Metallica's Turn the Page, and all kinds of stuff online. So, I mean, he's out there hitting it, too.
Cody's got an album I suggest for everybody. Some old, some new, maybe a cover or two, and his boys actually come on and sing with him. That was several years ago, so now Dirks is
13.
Damn, look at him. 13 years old. They're playing Turn the Page. Looks just like his daddy.
He does. He really does. He's up there with The Departed.
I think Cody said he's something about the house bands. I'm not sure if that's all shows. Surely not all shows, but
see which version. This is the Bob Seger version, I believe, instead of the Metallica version.
Well, there's two things for sure. You see how proud Cody is on stage with his boy, and that takes a lot of balls for Dirks to get up there, 13 years old, man, to play with his daddy, who's a legend. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one thing I wanted to cover real quick, and it's just been brought up to me a couple times in the last few weeks here. Why don't I talk much during these interviews? Couple reasons. One, if y'all were sitting down here with DK and looking at this list of notes, it's kind of overwhelming, thinking, where in the hell do I fit into that? So it's best just to sit back and listen and get in where you fit in, if you do fit in, and don't force it in. Also, it's really, really hard to get a back and forth going on the telephone between two people, let alone three people. and you can't read facial cues and know when somebody's going to talk or what have you. So I can sit here and read Dustin's facial cues and know what he's about to do, but I can't hear or can't see the other guys. And so those two have already got a back and forth going. It kind of stops progress with that conversation whenever I jump in. So I try to limit that.
Well, you do a good job of, and I know if it was something you were really,
if it was something I really interested in or felt a lot about, I mean, I would interject more. But it just makes for a lot better, smoother flowing interview if I just kind of sit back and let you ride and then jump in if I feel like I've got a question for it.
Well, a couple things on that. It is hard because even when it's just me and that person, there's been interviews where I don't mean to, but I step all over people and you'll start asking the next question before they're maybe done, or so it is hard.
Yeah.
So you're right about that. But now I think, like I said, I think you do an awesome job of when, sometimes I'm I piece this stuff together with my sentences, and I know what I want to ask, but you do an excellent job of coming in, and I'll be like, damn, that's a good question. I was like, here, I've got this whole spreadsheet over here, and I was like, Lucas will just ask a really intelligent question, but I don't mean to keep you out of
No.
sure.
That's if anybody's out there wondering, was wondering about that, that's by design a little bit on my part, because you do. I do know you think about these a lot. You know a lot about them and stuff. So, one, I don't want to trip you up or step on your toes or anything, and two, it is just so. I sit here and watch it. I watch it from this side of the table. Mm. I watch sometimes how hard you're working to make sure that conversation is flowing, and I know that's work going on over there, and it's just going to screw you up if another voice gets in there and throws the track off. So anyway, I just had that question a couple times the last couple of weeks, and that's what it is. It's not that I'm stepping away. It's not that I'm not interested or whatever. I'm used to just sitting here listening, just sitting over here behind the keyboard listening to what's going on like everybody else.
Actually, it's much wanted sometimes. Like when you throw a question in, it's good. It's good. It's a good.
Well, I'll try to have one. I'll try to have one in the pipe if I see you struggling, or if if that particular person's not giving you a lot back and forth, and it looks like you're going to go through your questions too quick or anything, then I'll try to throw something out there. But
I'll tell you what, since the relaunch, we had Hank Jr.'s son, and we've had Jason Eady, and we've had Cody now, and we had Jim White, of course, on the sports show. But that's the only. Is that the only four guests we had? Boy, I'm gonna feel bad if we've had a fifth one tonight. But I mean, they've been all very given.
Yeah. It's been
very given.
That not that any of them have ever been really, really bad.
Yeah, there's been a couple,
but there's been some that was harder to work through. Yeah,
there's been a couple like pulling teeth from. But no, and likewise, guys, if a lot of this times it's when life's so busy and. Me and Lucas don't get to talk a lot through the week with our jobs and everything else we got going on. Hey, it's a lot of times it's last minute and. Like, it really was. It was. I think I got Cody yesterday to text me and agree to come on. So it ain't like I've got a lot of time to get everything prepared for. It's kind of like I'm scribbling notes down on the road. Sometimes it feels like I'm finishing up at the house right before I come here. So but now, like I said, on the other end of that, if we get something Lucas is into and that I know he's very passionate about, if he calls like, hey man, I'm thinking about getting so and so guest on. You'll likely see the tables turn to me kind of sitting over here waiting my turn or something. And
speaking of, holler at me, Mackie. I need some news, Mackie.
Yeah, Mackie. Yes. It's time to deliver those promises when you're drinking.
Yeah, I heard some promises whenever old Mackie was riding down the road with somebody and let's pay them up. Sam Williams, Jason Eady, Andrew Pope, Jim White.
Oh shit, Andrew Pope, of course, man.
And now Cody Canada,
Andrew Pope. Are you kidding me?
I was reading that. I thought, I don't know how in the hell he forgot Andrew Pope.
That's actually been probably.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a fun interview.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh, Andrew. I'm sorry, man. I don't know how in the hell I forgot you. I just text Andrew all weekend. I was at a wrestling convention in Georgia.
Oh, really?
and was texting him because you know how big of a fan he is. Yeah.
It's kind of funny he wasn't there.
Hey, well, he said the only reason it being is because it was Texas A&M and Alabama was playing and Roll Tide priorities,
Right.
But yeah, it's not because it wasn't a far drive from him. I texted him on my way down there, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I know about that." And the only reason it come up for me is my friend Chad that we've had on the podcast a few times. He owns that Heroes and Legends. He's, merchandise and everything. So he sets up all throughout the southeast of these shows. And he said his normal couple of guys that usually helps him had to back out. I hadn't helped him since 2014. And I said, yeah, let me make sure whatever we're doing this weekend isn't that important.
Right.
And so I drove down after work Friday and to Rome, Georgia. And I tell you what, it's a booming little town. Travis Tritt is coming there in October. It's a little small venue called the Forum. And the security guard not the security guard, but the guy the guy that runs the venue.
Yeah.
I had a Cody Jinks shirt on. He goes, man, we're trying to get that guy. Well, do you know anything about him? I was like, seems like a cool guy. And he goes, well, good. I'm hoping to be able to work something out with him where we can get him here. And that's probably the right size venue for the inside until he can get up to the Bridgestone level. But I tell you what, I always enjoy going to these wrestling conventions just because you're seeing guys of the past that you grew up watching.
Right.
And it's sad sometimes because you see them when they're 50 and they're 60 and they're looking rough and sometimes. But
that's a hard life, man. 300 days a year on the road.
Especially in the 80s and 90s. It was a grind, man. They are, like you said, 300 days a year.
They're just lucky they look as good as they do, I'd say.
Yeah. But Demolition, Marty Jannetty, a lot of the guys, it was funny, man, some of the guys that just you wouldn't expect I was actually, Chad had most stuff set up.
By the time you got there?
By the time I got there. About 95% probably. Well, I'm down on my knees Saturday morning finishing up right before the Fan Fest opens. I mean, we were about 3 hours from the doors opening. I hear a voice say, hey, guys, how y'all doing? Look up, it's Booker T.
Oh, it's
down there at the booth. Hey, Booker, how you doing? Well, Chad had me working, so we didn't get to talk that much, but he actually had a seminar. Booker T had a seminar.
Mm-hmm.
They had paid, people had paid to be get in the ring with him. So just to see his passion, he has a school down in Houston. So, and he come back by the booth. I was like, man, that was great. I said, it's nice to see you. You can tell when somebody's going through the motions, somebody's actually trying to teach.
Right.
He's very passionate about that. And of course, what's awesome about being a vendor, they're charging all these crazy prices at these conventions. And where I had that little Heroes and Legends thing on, I was getting all this. Like, oh man, you work here, don't worry about it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Marty Jannetty came over, so he was cutting up and going on. Talked to him, then text Jeff Jarrett. Somehow or another, I've never met Jeff Jarrett to be living in Hendersonville.
Mm-hmm.
Many little shows that I've went to, I've met Jerry the King Lawler and all these guys. I just never met Jeff. Well, I remembered, I thought, I didn't want to leave the booth. So I said, I've got Jeff Jarrett's number. Completely forgot.
Why do you have Jeff Jarrett's number?
He actually called into my radio show in Lafayette when I was still doing the radio.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And, because he was doing a show in Portland, some sort. And I thought, hell, I've got Jeff Jarrett's number. I'm going to text him.
Yeah.
I said, hey, man, this is Dustin from Heroes and Legends over here at the booth. Blah, blah, blah. Love to talk to you and Karen before the day's over. Well, lo and behold, just a few minutes later, Karen walks over there. Karen Angle she was formerly married with Kurt Angle, and now with one of the most beautiful women on the face of the planet. She walks over, and I was like, hey, I said, I just texted your husband. And she said, oh, yeah. And I said, I was going to try to get a picture of both you guys and talk to Jeff for a few minutes. And gorgeous. She's a beautiful lady. And she said, oh, you did? And I said, hey, yeah. I said, I had him on a radio show once. I said, he probably looked at his phone and said, who the hell is this guy? Who the hell is Dustin from Heroes and Legends? But, yeah, she made good. And, I got to talk to him for a few minutes and hang out. And
he's a poor fella, ain't he?
Mm-hmm.
Poor fella.
Yeah, she's beautiful. And it seemed like a really sweet lady. And Jeff was very pretty genuine, dude, too, to talk to. And I'll tell you, the one I wanted to meet the most was Mean Gene Okerlund.
Yeah.
Growing up, Mean Gene. Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. Well, I went over to Mean Gene's booth, and that cat was trying to charge $50 for a picture and autograph. And I was like, look, I've been getting all this rest of the stuff free. Mean Gene, brother, I'm out.
Hard times must have be falling Mean Gene Okerlund.
Well, I mean, all of them, after I went back and looked at their booths after it was over, a lot of them, like Booker was charging $40 for a combo, I think, something like that. But
Man.
I mean, Mean Gene's a legend, So I thought, I'm holding on to my cash. Well, about 2 hours later, I thought all the guys from the meet and greet were gone. Told Chad, I said, man, cover the booth, for a second, or else cover me, else I'm going to go piss. And looking at the concession stand on the left, because I'm fat and I always got food on the brain, bumped into Mean Gene leaving the building.
Yeah.
I said, Mean Gene, what's going on, brother? He goes, hey. I said, sorry I missed you earlier. I never could get my way over to the booth. And he said, oh, that's all right. We had a good time. I didn't want to tell the truth. It was like, I really didn't want to drop 50 on you, Gene.
Right.
And I was like, here to grab a picture with me real quick? He said, yeah, let's do it. So, bam.
Worked around that $50.
I sure did.
You think he'd get 40 You think he'll get 40 people paying him for a picture and stuff?
Well, I was talking to Chad about that, and that was kind of their goal. They thought if they could charge more, the promoter that brought him in would actually be able to, maybe he wouldn't have as many people come through the line, but he'd have the number he was setting out for. But now they had him in a really
Bad spot.
really bad spot. You had to kind of walk around. It's for one of the biggest 5 names that was there, kind of odd placement.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
You think he'll make $2,000?
I don't know, and I don't know how much they paid him to bring him in, right? That's ultimately, as long as that promoter makes his money back, you want to make some money off of it.
Yeah.
As long as you break even, you probably, okay, because your company's getting their name out there by bringing in Mean Gene Okerlund. Typically, at small rural shows like that, you want to drop the price.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Mark used to run these shows in Cookeville and Sparta, and he'd say, man, it's a rural area. Income's not high. You might just want to charge $10, $15.
Right.
Then you're gonna have them wrapped around the building all night long. Mean Gene didn't get the memo down in Rome, Georgia.
How old is Mean Gene?
76.
He's 75. Yeah. So he may not have gave a damn about the memo.
Well, I really wanted. Because I just 75. You never know how long Mean Gene's gonna be with us. So I thought, man, I better try to meet Mean Gene while I can. But a couple things. Moving on, it was brought to me on Facebook. It wouldn't be a One Lane Road podcast episode without bringing up the Allen brothers.
Oh yeah.
So we're both sporting the
Allen brothers hats.
So I'll show you off air. Well, if I can pull it up now, I'll show it to you. But Caleb Allen apparently is a comedian now.
Yeah.
The other day I posted something about One Lane Road podcast. And he put live look in at Lucas recording the show. Let me hold on just a second. Here it is. You're gonna pop right here when you see this. I shared the episode from last week, the SOLR, which always a crowd favorite,
Mm-hmm.
And live look at Lucas recording this podcast. Big head son of a gun, Jack, and he provides this gift for us. Big old heads. He's a big old headed son of a bitch.
That's funny.
So then, Steve Allen, Slim Allen. Steve, your goal for this week is to drop one of those names off Facebook. I want you to be Slim Allen, Steve Allen, or be like Madonna, just be Slim.
Right.
Okay? That's a mouthful, and I'm trying to fit it in there. He suggests the cap size extender to you right off eBay.
Let me see this.
That way you can wear the Allen farm hats proud.
Hey, I know that's a joke, but I don't mind that. I wouldn't mind that. I've got a whole closet full of snapback hats that I've never been able to wear.
Well, there you go.
Bam.
I don't know if it's a joke. Is it a joke?
I don't know. If it's not, it's a hell of an idea.
I don't think it's a joke. And Curtis Rich said, by the way, I would never fight Howard Russell. We go back a long time, and he's a Duke fan. If I did, I would like to think I'd at least get a couple in on him.
You might get a couple in on him, but I'm going to go ahead and say I think that training's going to take over.
Curtis has went the Randy Cherry route this week, and he's just binge listening. He said he was listening to Amber Harding on our final show from last September.
Yeah. I tried to get her on the other day. She was working the other night. So.
How was she?
Yeah, and so she said she'd be on sometime soon.
I'm going to try to get her next week.
Yeah, I'd be
try to reach out to her next week. Another thing about the Allen brothers, so you usually do a phenomenal, and I'm talking top tier 1A job of editing shows and making sure when I say, oh crap, I need that gone.
Edit that out.
I need that edited.
Yeah, I didn't.
So there's a pretty funny segment last week when I'm telling a somewhat fictional story on Blake Allen, and I'm listening to it.
Oh shit!
And so, do you want to know how the story goes on my end?
Yeah, let's hear the rest of it. Let's hear that end.
So I start telling a story that I'm thinking, and I talked to Blake prior. I'm texting Blake as I'm going to come to the show last Wednesday, and I said, how much of this story do you want me to tell? He goes, man, we might want to keep that close to the chest for now.
Oh,
you know?
shit.
So my goal was, and I told you my goal was to tease it.
Yeah.
Then I realized, oh crap, I probably said a little too much. So then on the podcast, I say, and this is how, and this guy's sorry for the language, but this is how it sounded last week. I said, hey, go write that down.
Yeah.
Then I go, fuck. So I'm driving to work and I'm voice texting Blake. Hey, so
it didn't
hey man,
out.
He goes, I heard it. It was funny. He's like, that's too good of a story to hold out anyway. I'm still not gonna tell the whole story, and that'll stay between the four of us that was there than whoever he told. Blake is having a good time. Blake's young.
I was sitting there looking at that the other night and thinking, there's one more thing I'm supposed to take out here but for life of me, I cannot remember it.
Sure enough. That was
sure enough was.
But hell, Blake's a good-looking, young, strapping guy.
Good mustache.
Single man. So, hey, do what you got to do, man. I want a couple more quick things. Well, first off, do you know how everybody always says it's easy for me to talk to anybody?
Yeah.
People have, Lindsay always said, you can talk to a damn light pole. I'm in Dunham Sports the other day. And the only reason I'm in Dunham Sports in Cookeville is because I had time to kill.
Right.
And I walked by a guy and he's got a Tyler Childers shirt on. I said, hey, man, cool shirt. He goes, oh, yeah, dude. I got to take it sold out 3 nights at the Exit Inn. I got one ticket the other day, $28. And I thought, hell yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then he had a Cody Jinks hat on. I was like, dude, I was see Jinks 2 weeks ago. It was like one of those, did we become best friends moments? And we're sitting there telling stories like, dude, add me on Facebook, man. And I didn't want to say it. Like the whole time we were talking, I was like, he's going to ask me about Facebook. And I am the world's top, I'm in the top 5% of remembering things.
Right.
I'm terrible. And I'm like, I've already forgot this dude's name. And he said, man, I listen to Tyler. I was at that rhyming show of Cody Jinks. I was at the rhyming with Tyler Childers, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I've been in all that stuff, man. And he was like, well, I was going to go to Jinks, or maybe he did go to Jinks, can't remember. He goes, dude, look me up on Facebook.
Yeah.
Then I was like, shit, there it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to. He just told me 5 minutes ago, and I was like, nah, here, dude, look me up.
Yeah.
Here, I was like, here, get my phone, look find your page. Or no, I'm sorry. He searched me, and I was like, yeah, right there, Dustin Kennedy. He's like, One Lane Road Podcast? I said, yeah, it's it. So he added me. And so now we're Facebook friends, and
right.
Just kind of funny that unsuspecting. He's like, dude, let's go to some shows. And then Slim Allen actually said, because he wrote on my Facebook wall, and Slim's like, man, one of my friends meets another one of my friends. So I guess he's safe. I didn't know whether he was crazy or not or nothing. I didn't know.
Right. Has he got 4 names too?
He doesn't. He just has 2 names. Craig Aldridge, man. So shout out to Craig Aldridge. If you listen to this show, just kind of cool because you don't see a lot of Tyler Childers shirts popping around Cookeville is what I'm saying.
Right.
It's pretty neat. But I got to address one thing, and I want your opinion on this.
Okay.
Where do you stand on cargo shorts at our age?
I'm wearing them right now.
Yeah, and if I didn't have pants on, I'd have them on right now.
What's wrong with cargo shorts?
So this started, I was at a Titans thing. I took Curtis Rich to a Titans season ticket holder thing with me.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, this is bullshit. I said, these new shorts I just got the other day are garbage. I said, the holes have already busted out both pockets.
Yeah.
And not the cargo part, but just the pocket. He goes, well, dude, ain't you getting a little old for cargo pants anyway?
Who said that?
Curtis Rich.
How do you get too old for a piece of clothing other than, like a little kid shirt, but
or like a tube top on a woman?
Yeah.
That need to stop.
How are you too old for cargo shorts?
Well, first off, I don't remember Curtis getting voted best dressed in high school or nothing. I don't know that because I'm older.
Right.
But
I wear cargo shorts. That's literally the only thing I wear. If I'm wearing shorts, that's literally the only shorts that I wear. But they're so handy, man, because like if I'm back here working on something, I need a pocket full of nails, I just I open up my cargo pocket and throw a handful of nails in it.
Exactly.
Utilitarian.
I feel like they don't go out of style, but I just always feel like, maybe that's our generation. And me and Clint Fraley talked about this, like we'll wear cargo shorts, khaki cargo shorts. And hey, look here, camouflage. Like I have 3 pairs of camouflage cargo shorts.
Yeah.
And if I live to be 96,
you're going to wear them.
I will still have camouflage. It's kind of like the old men that you see that build houses around here or do construction. What do you see them in? jorts
Oh yeah.
and the tall work boots
Yeah.
with the socks.
Mm-hmm.
That's their look. So I guess cargo shorts are our look. And Clint said, "I'll always wear them." He's like, "But I'll never wear jorts. They're coming back in." It's like 5 years ago. Clint said this,
Right.
and now jorts are like full force in style.
Yeah, I'm not about that life. Hey, by the way, Clint Fraley is the case of the incredible shrinking man. Have you seen
Good
him lately?
Lord, he's like 160. Man.
168. When I seen him the
Yeah,
other day.
man.
Yeah, he's going. He's leaving.
And
I seen him at Lowe's the other day, and I thought that ain't that. I don't think that's him, you know. And then he got close to me, and hell, I'd parked beside of him, and he pulled up beside of me, and I got out and I was talking to him. I thought, holy shit! I mean, last time I seen him, he was down here in the basement. We worked out, and I hadn't seen him in probably 2 or 3 months. And holy crap, he'd lost like another 20 pounds, 25 pounds, something like that since then.
Yeah, I mean, man, he goes hard on that stuff.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite people
Yeah.
in the world.
30 pounds, I guess.
He's lost like 100 and something pounds
Yeah.
total, I think.
I think he's lost 30 since the last time I seen him because I think he was still over 200 since the last time I seen him.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We were at the Ryman, and I had a Coke, and he had a water.
Yeah.
And like the last three,
And a cucumber or something. Just the only thing
like
he
a
had.
pickle. He had
Yeah.
a pickle in his back pocket. Like the last 3-4 concerts I've been to with him, he's been drinking water. I was like, dude, this is so
This is
weird.
no different. Yeah.
But it's nice to give him a little bit of his own. I hadn't really given him his own medicine. But I keep telling him I'm going to give his own medicine because how many times that I used to drive him,
All right.
and then he refused. He refused to leave or something. I was like, "Now you're drinking water." I was like, "Let me put you to the test one of these days." You're very glad I've settled down too.
Yeah. Clint's asked to leave you, though.
yeah. I threatened to leave him a lot. He would leave you. Yeah.
You might not even get a warning. He might just leave.
So you're saying it's all right to wear the shorts?
I'm
wearing them still.
I'm all about them. I'm going to wear this same pair tomorrow, probably.
Well, a boy at work with a 24-year-old I referenced, Connor, I was telling him about it. He's like, "No, dude, I think they're fine. I think actually your age, that's the perfect age for them." I was like, "Well, first off,
What do you mean by that?
He's like, "No, dude, listen, I'm 24, like, but my wife made me stop wearing them." She's like, "Connor, nobody wears cargo shorts anymore. You're 24. He's like, "Next thing I know, dude, they're gone from my house, and I have these chubbies." I was like, "Oh, it's cool that your shorts are 4 inches above your knees and your nuts are hanging out. You know, if that's in, I don't want to be like I guess I can be the old guy wearing the skull rags or something because."
I was stuck in whenever we had ball shorts back in the day, we had those long ass ball shorts, that come down 3 or 4 inches below your knees.
Yeah.
I have stopped wearing those because it's just too long. It's
too
just
baggy.
It's too baggy. It's just too much. But cargo shorts are perfect.
They're perfect.
Perfect.
Those
the perfect
chubbies,
utility.
Those chubbies need to go
I
out
don't
of
like
style
that name.
forever.
I don't like that. I don't like that they call them that.
That makes you feel like you've seen Miss Davis for the first time on Varsity Blues, don't it?
Yeah.
That's the chubby I think about.
That's the only thing I think about.
What is the purple-headed yogurt slinger?
Yeah.
Not
She's a 10. Not your
not
shorts are
shorts.
too short.
I'm not a fan. It's like
Chubbies.
every time you go to a college football game and you're seeing them. You're seeing the croakies of the chubbies and the
What was the other
Sperry's.
thing you just said?
The croakies that
What's that?
everybody keeps their sunglasses on.
I don't know what to do.
It's totally fratastic, dude. I can't believe you hadn't heard it. Everybody's got the chubbies with the Sperry's. Then they got their sunglasses, the croakies, dude. The thing around their neck.
You know another thing I don't have?
What?
Sperry's.
No, why would you?
Mm-mm.
Why would you?
Mm-mm. Well, I hate to cut this short
Well, don't.
after a riveting cargo short talk.
Well, I know that was.
But
I'm just having.
I hear my little boy upstairs.
I know it.
Church is over.
I was in a video today, and I didn't get to talk about it.
What kind of video?
It was for work.
Oh yeah.
Wallaby and Tutco. It was actually not even just Tutco. It was all of our company that owns us out of England. Somehow or another, I got picked to do a video, like an after-school home special.
Well, I was about to say you don't know how you got picked. That's pretty funny. But two, if it's a kid's special PSA, that's interesting.
Yeah, drugs, alcohol, sex.
You're telling them to just get after it. get on the train.
No, sir.
No, don't do it.
But no, I was so now. Basically, now that I'm pretty well a star,
Yeah.
I have the camera in my face. And
Yeah,
I'm going to be
yeah.
on a big. So from now on, when I'm here,
Uh-huh.
I want a glass of 2% milk.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to drink. I just want it sitting here.
Yeah.
I want a bowl of M&Ms.
Yeah.
The peanut M&Ms.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I want you to take all the green ones out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yellow only.
Got you. Uh-huh.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm writing this down. Hold on. Go ahead now. I'm ready.
I want those Asian massages that we used to talk about.
Yeah.
We've got a couch now.
Yeah.
I want the escorts that I talked about in season 1. I want one redhead.
Yeah.
One brunette.
Yeah.
And one midget.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. All of it.
Escorts.
Every one of them.
Yellow M&Ms.
Yeah.
I'm a star, bitch.
You know what you're gonna get? You're gonna get that same chair. You're gonna get that same microphone.
Your dog over here scratching.
You can pet my dog if you'd like. That's fine. You can I'll bring you a glass of water next time. I mean,
That'd be nice.
If that's something you'd like.
Nice touch.
You can borrow my ink pen if you'd like. We got some chewing gum. Here's an empty.
No, I see what you're doing.
Here's one piece of chewing gum in a partially empty pack.
I don't.
Here's a Sharpie that one lid was off of. So
you know
it's
what?
dry.
I don't feel appreciated right now, and I think we should cut this show before you get out of hand. Hey, your little boy's home, Lucas. It's time to go.
I gotta go.
Thank you, Cody Canada.
Thanks, Cody
Hell of a
Canada.
show.
Good job.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll come back to you from the studio of the One Lane Road podcast next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.